Oh, it was very delayed because they said they had another thing that ran over, so,
Got it.
yeah.
We're getting ready to get started.
Thank you, Monica.
And hi.
Hi. You look so lonely in the building.
What was that?
I said, Dave looks so lonely over there in the building.
Yeah, it's Dave and Mike Blundy here today.
Oh, I can see, yeah, Mike's right. Yeah, I can see Mike. Are you in there too?
I'm here. I'm just off camera.
Oh, smart.
I'm a mystery person. Like just the voice. Oh.
So what did you want to wait for?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the September 2022 Lower Makefield Township Park and Recreation Board meeting. Apologize for the delay in getting started. We had some technical difficulties, but those have been solved. Like to take roll call in person. We've got Dave Malinowski and Mike Blundy on the line. We have Mike Brody, Dennis Wasaki, Kim Rock, myself. We also have Monica Tierney at the Township Building. I know Rob Labar will not be able to make it tonight. And there's James McCartney on the line. Sometimes he's inconspicuous, but I guess he's not with us at the moment. First order of business is to approve our June meeting minutes. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any comments? If none, all in favor of approving the June minutes, please state aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
All right. That is first order of business. Monica, do we have the Girl Scout presentation in person tonight?
No Girl Scout today.
Correct.
Mm-mm.
Is it, did you say no Girl Scout or
Yeah, she's not here.
she's not here? Okay. So is she not coming or we just, or,
I believe she's not coming. She might make
Okay.
the next one.
all right, great. All right, liaison reports. I see we have Matt from PAA on the line. I don't know, is Monica, is there anybody else in person?
No, George did mention that he was going to call in,
Okay.
but I don't see him.
So we'll go with Matt first since he is, I see him on the line. So Matt.
Hi. Okay, great. So really, this is my first time appearing before this committee, so it's great to meet you. I am the incoming commissioner of Pennsbury Athletic Association, and we are, as you know, long-standing partners of the township. So I'm excited. I know some of you. I'm excited to get to know the rest of you, as appropriate. We have begun our fall season. We have a little over 200 people that are going to be using the Fred Allen fields. These are our softball mix of in-house and our travel gems program. And we have, I'm looking to confirm the number, but a decent amount more than that, around 300 or so that are playing fall baseball at various ages. We use, the MAC fields, which are lighted in the fall for older ages, particularly MAC A for our 13 and up, which play on the 60-90 field. And all of our younger ages, really anybody from 6 up through 12, for the most part, unless they're a travel player, is going to be doing all of their fall ball stuff down at Levittown Continental. We partner with them for our fall in-house because they have a very nice lighted facility, which allows us to play games, after things start getting dark toward the end of the month, during the week. So, you'll see us out on the fields. We are also making an effort to, get some field maintenance stuff done with our volunteers this fall. And we've recently completed, with partnership with Monica and her team, some work regrading and mixing in some turf mix on the 3 Stoddard fields and the what we call the pool field, which is used by our softball. So no real update or ask or anything, but wanted to use this opportunity to introduce myself and just say, I'm available. If anybody has any questions at any time, I'm happy to talk about the league and see how we can be helpful. And our goal really is to put on a great program and to be good partners. So in that spirit, we're happy to engage with anybody at any time.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you joining the meeting tonight and look forward to working with you. I know it's from my previous experience, it's a great organization and look forward to all the things that you can continue to help build that program. I don't know if anybody else has any questions for Matt.
Matt, good luck in the role.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.
Thanks, Matt. We look forward to your continued partnership and success with baseball and softball. All right. Anybody else from any of the organizations on the line or in the room?
I do not see George
Okay,
or
if he-
anybody else. I know this is their busy season, so.
Sure. I know if he
We're gonna
does
get
pop
here.
in, we'll make time for him. So next on the agenda is Monica's report. But before I turn it over to Monica, I just wanted to publicly recognize her and her staff for all the work to get CAPRA certified. This was a major effort, not only on her part, on her staff. I also want to thank my fellow board members and all the other members of the public who volunteered some time to make sure all the inputs were there for Monica and her team so that we could have a successful application. This is going to be, this is a big deal for the township. Obviously, it's the first one in the state of Pennsylvania, but really will provide long-term benefits for all the residents that use our facilities. So it may not appear in the short term, like, so what does it do for me? But I think in the long term that the overall benefit and the experience that our residents will have with our park and rec department and the facilities will be extremely beneficial due to this certification. So again, Monica, applause all the way around for you and your team. So
Congrats.
Thank you, everybody. So I too want to thank, CAPRA accreditation. I don't know if everybody understands, how exciting it is, especially for a small agency. Very interesting. When we were getting accredited, one of the agencies reviewing us had 1,000 staff. And that's kind of the common staff so I actually chuckled when she told me how many staff she had, because it was so shocking to me. For a small agency like us to get accredited, it really took us a huge community effort from everybody from the EAC, the Park Board, the Disability Advisory Board, some time put in from the Board of Supervisors, from many volunteers, throughout this time, and including our partnerships with the universities and the ability to use students to help write some of our documents that we were putting together for the accreditation. It really was a huge undertaking, but we wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of volunteers and creative thinking. So it's very exciting, very big. And there are some benefits that you're already seeing. We're much more professional now. We're much more organized in the way we offer things. We have a plan for the future. We have plans in place that are going to help us with grant applications right off the bat. So that right there just sets us up for future success, and you'll only continue to see more with time. So I'm very excited. Next week, we get the official award, and we're very excited. So next cycle is 5 years. We are due to do annual reports to the CAPRA Accreditation Agency, and we were voted in last week, which is very exciting. And that's all I have, Doug. I could talk all day. You'd let me.
Congratulations, Monica.
well, that was your CAPRA update. So
Outstanding.
good luck. Yeah, good luck at the awards and recognition ceremony, and please take some pictures and share it with us when you're up there on the
Monica,
big
what was
stage.
the supervisor's reaction?
Excuse me?
What was the reaction of the supervisors?
Oh, everybody was very excited. Great. Congratulations. Nice email communication. There was an announcement at the board meeting, which was nice. So it was very nice reaction.
Good.
Complimentary.
Well
Yep.
done. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I guess, Monica, are you going to go through your Play for All planning, the PowerPoint that you shared with us? I think most people got it through email a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So it's really project updates, but
Mhm.
just want to go through some of the things that, boy.
And do we want to wait for you to get done with the presentation for any public comment, or do we want to stop at each section?
That'd be up to you. I could do it either way. What's your preference, Doug?
let's just go through each one and we'll stop for any comment for each section. So this way, if anybody on the board has any questions, we can address it at that time.
Okay, so we have very many things going on. I tried to highlight the things that are very active right now. In your packets, you received slides that I gave to the Board of Supervisor earlier this year with, what a timeline would look like for, say, Snipes, Keola, Makefield. It's all in there. Since then, we've made some headway, and I'm going to just go through today a few items that are specific to Play for All plan, because that's the idea. We have this master plan. We want to follow along with it. So these are some of the things we're going to be covering today. The first one is very exciting for me. Well, all of it's exciting for me. Let's really be realistic. So art in the park was something that came up as part of our CAPRA accreditation, that we need more art in our parks. So Bet, Salvine, and I met, and we kind of discussed some different opportunity that there might be out there. And we went out to the Sayward Johnson site out at this Grounds for Sculpture. Very interesting site there. And he is the son of the founder of Johnson & Johnson. And he wasn't so much of a scientist, more of an artist, and ended up opening this community-based art program that really was meant to engage and connect the community. And this right here is a picture of one of his sculptures, but all of his sculptures kind of go along this footprint. It's people, they're in clothing, there's all different types of themes. There's really hundreds and hundreds of them, these sculptures, and you can partner with them in a way that you can get these sculptures in your parks. So essentially you pay for, you tell them what your budget is, and they will provide you the number of sculptures that they can deliver for that. They don't charge you for the sculpture itself. What they do charge you for is for delivery, and they charge you for cleanup after they get them back. They're used to public art, they are ready for cleanup when they get them back. So it's a 6-month installation. And I'm thinking that we could install these throughout our park system as different site visits, but not only install these, but make them a big centerpiece for incorporating art, like dance and programs and in-person, say, sculpture classes. We could really do something nice in partnership with the artists of Yardley to provide some good programming and incorporate our current programming into this theme. So when we budget this year, I'm looking to provide or put $5,000 towards this. Artists of Yardley is willing to contribute $2,500, and we're looking to apply for a grant that will help contribute to this too, so that we can really get a number of sculptures that really make sense for the size of our community. So, when I have commitment from the board, I will also reach out back to Sayward Johnson Foundation and ask what we can get for what we're willing to put in, and we can negotiate back and forth to come up with a plan. I don't want to spend all that money on sculpture. I'd like to invest a little bit in doing some of that programming in the parks too. So, it'd be a little bit of both, but the goal would be to use it mostly for sculptures in the parks. There's an education piece. They help you create a whole website and give you all the education that you need, pamphlets, brochures. You can do walking tours. You can do, scavenger hunts, whatever it is that you want to do to include it, but it's educating the community and it's including art throughout our park system. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. If the board is interested in this, I will continue to pursue. There's a small grant open right now that we're looking into that might be good for this, but we would need a little bit of commitment from the board that this is something that you might be interested in. It's not just me and the artists of Yardley, that the board also supports this too. So I'd love to hear what you have to say, or if anybody has any feedback on this program.
After 6 months, I'm gonna get them. They rotate the ones in.
After 6 months, so they'd be here, say spring to fall, they would take them, and then we could pick a whole new installation for the following year. So we can change our theme. So for us, Play for All would be the theme. So there's many, many different sculptures. I actually have a book here you can look through if you want to before you leave, of all of their sculptures. And you can select many ages, genders, races, whatever, to go throughout the parks. And you know, we can do that as board or however you'd like to do it, but it's something that's really, it'd be nice first to know how many we can do. It could be very interactive.
Go ahead, Dennis. I see you have your yellow
Yeah,
hand up.
thank you, Doug.
Sure.
Monica, do you know if this is the same Johnson that has the sculptures over by the train station in Hamilton?
I'm probably,
I would think so.
I added a link of one of the installations they have in New Brunswick. He has many, they're kind of throughout the country. He has them in Oregon. He has them everywhere, really. I mean, well, he's no longer alive, but his projects are still all over the country. And the idea is to create communication and engagement from the community. So
Well, I mean,
that's really
I've
what
been
his
to-
theme was.
The one I'm thinking of over by the Hamilton train station is called Grounds for Sculpture. It's kind of across the way. And when you
Oh,
drive
yeah.
in-
Grounds for Sculpture is where the home base is for Sayward
Right.
Johnson. Yeah.
yes.
And I will tell you, like, I'm sure some of you have been there, but all of those sculptures, they just catch your eye. Like, you can't not look at them. They're pretty cool. And, you know, you drive in through the street to get to where his home base is. There's a restaurant back there too. I think it's Rats. Very interesting art, very eye-catching, very, I don't know, I could say provocative in some cases. People will talk about it. I hadn't even thought about this, but this seems to me like a good addition in the right spots in the right parks for us if the supervisors would support the funding.
Yeah, Monica, quick question for you. I know that you're looking to budget and you would obviously have to go back and negotiate, but did they give you any sense of what, depending on how many parks you're thinking of, 4 sculptures, 5 sculptures? Obviously, you have a budget here with contribution and then maybe a grant. So is there a number in mind that they gave you, or are you just kind of putting up a number and then seeing what we can get for that?
They said they would have to know our budget. They could give us a little more because it's close. Then they would give
Okay.
someone, say in Oregon, it'd be more expensive to ship for our budget. So we get more bang for a buck per se. But I'm thinking probably somewhere between 6 and 8 sculptures. It also depends on their size. As you see, this sculpture has 3 characters in it. There's other sculptures with just 1. So it also depends on what we want to select along the way too.
So Monica, are these kind of on loan when we do this? Like we would pay them or rent them on an annual basis?
It kind of like on loan. Yeah, they loan them out to the parks and we can switch and rotate them every year
But you have to
and we
repay.
return them.
You repay every year.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You repay every year. So like, let's say we had $5,000, we would pay 5,000, and if they gave us 6 or 8 sculptures, the next year to maintain them or get them swapped out, you pay another 5,000.
Yeah, it would, if it's something that we want to continue from year to year, which would be my intent. If it's something that we want to continue, the payment is for really the delivery and installation of the pieces and the cleanup of the pieces. They don't charge us to house the pieces.
Right.
It's more just the delivery and installation and cleanup.
Okay.
I think it's a great opportunity. I think you can create themes, so you can do a theme one year and change the theme up so that all the sculptures kind of have a general theme, and you can obviously do something each year. And I think it creates some excitement and just get some people, help to visit the parks too. For those that may not go, you have something in there that all of a sudden attracts some new attendees or people to visit parks. So
I was thinking as like a introductory unveiling type thing too. You could do a little like scavenger hunt, like to the township. Like if you find all 8 figures, fill something out and send it in and tell us the locations or take a picture of yourself with them or something.
yeah, hashtag sculpture or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever people do today on the social media.
You're dating yourself, Doug.
All right, any
So
other?
I
Go ahead, Michael.
So I
Yeah.
really love the idea, especially from like an art. Like I love the overall idea. I guess my one Debbie Downer concern is when I think of a sculpture, I guess I just worry that when I heard Monica say that we choose the sex, the gender, the color, that we live in a very politically charged area, and are we stepping into fire in terms of is our selection too diverse? Is it not diverse enough? And just, I guess, I guess that's just my only like concern. But there's a ton of positives, so I'm not saying don't do it. I guess I just am. I want to be cognizant of that risk, so to speak, for lack of a better word.
So Mike, is the risk big enough in your mind to dissuade you from even considering the program, or?
No, I guess it would just say that like when you're going through I guess I'd like to know how that's been handled in other places. But then when I think the installation you're talking about the 25-foot statues, right?
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, right. Like the really big statues, right? I guess I'm just saying some thought should go into however that's being selected. I don't know what the answer is. No, but I don't think it's a non-point. I mean, there's a lot of, I know what I would think would be appropriate, but I don't,
Well, I think if there is a theme, right, and Monica and maybe your, staff can select numerous statues or sculptures that might fit that theme and present them to the board or to the board of supervisors for approval. So this way it's not just one person just, randomly picking that. Obviously there would be a committee of folks that could pick, but obviously, you're not going to satisfy everybody, but hopefully that the sculptures are tastefully done and the selection would be as such. So
absolutely. I think that sounds like a great way to mitigate that risk. But yeah,
no matter what we do, no matter what the sculptures look like, someone's not going to like it. This one for that reason and that one for this reason. I think Monica and the staff should pick out the sculptures, bring them to the park board for final approval, and move ahead. The more people we get involved, the longer it'll take. Before you know it, it's 2025 and we're still going. Should it be the softball player who's diminutive or the softball player who's tall? Or does that baseball player look good enough, or should it be this one? And
Dave, is your mic on?
Never get done.
Dave, is your mic on?
Dave, your mic.
I heard him.
Yeah, the mic is on. It was just a little far from me.
Okay. Well, Monica, I mean, I don't want to put extra work into this, but you could also solicit the community for thoughts on themes and pick popular themes.
Yeah, there's many ways that we can do it. I mean, right now, I think we just need to decide if we want to do it, and then we can move on to how we're going to do it and implementation. We don't do anything in the Parks Department without lots of thought.
So there was some.
I can guarantee you that there will be lots of thought put into the decision-making process.
Right. But okay, the impetus for this was there was feedback saying there wasn't enough art available in the township parks. And we're considering whether or not it makes sense to incorporate some through a program like this, which sounds great. Personally, I would say yes. I mean, we could dabble, right? This doesn't have to be a long-term commitment or a huge monetary investment. This could be something small to see the reaction. And I think I can think of some parks where it'd be really cool to have something like this.
I fully support it. I will go so far as to say I make a motion to approve the art in the park initiation. I just wanted to acknowledge that we should consider how we handle it, and it sounds like we have.
I'll second it.
all right, Michael Brody made a motion, seconded by Mike Lundy. Any other public comment? If none, any other comments from the board? None. All right. If all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Monica, let's go make this happen.
Great. I will bring more back to you next month.
Great, thank you.
All
right.
Okay, so moving on to Makefield Park assessment. Since we met last, the Board of Supervisors decided to move forward with a Macclesfield Park master plan, as was notated in the Play for All plan. The RFP was released on 8/18/2022, and the deadline for submission was September 9th. I included the RFP in your packet so you could see how we were going to look at the submissions. We had 4 submissions, which I included in your packet. We evaluated them in the park or within the Parks Department on a scale of 1 to 10, going through the RFP for every different section. And the 2 front runners were Simone Collins and JMT. So what we plan to do is bring that to the Board of Supervisors and for them to be able to deliberate and choose which one. I believe the front runner for this one was JMT. Their price was just lower. I mean, really, that's it. And they had a little bit more knowledge and background on Macclesfield Park specifically. Both firms really great, really neck and neck in comparison, but there was more specific attention in the JMT proposal. Does anybody have any questions on the Macclesfield Park plan study?
So
How
this will
things
be
will
brought
work.
to the board at, when's our next meeting?
Next Wednesday, the
Tomorrow,
21st.
okay. Oh, Wednesday, the 21st, okay.
Yeah.
And then based on,
I did reach out to, that's a good question, because Simone Collins submitted a longer timeline, and really we were looking at these JMT and Simone Collins. But both said that it would be about 6 months. So that they would work with us closely on how we want our timeline to work, but it'd be around the spring, we'd be able to get through it. We want them to start right away so they can hit Macclesfield Park at its busiest and really be able to assess it at its busiest, which, you know, right now we have football, we have cheerleading, we have baseball, we have soccer out there. So, you know, we have everything going on all at one time. Well, less baseball, more soccer, but you can kind of get a good view of it. So that's really where we want to get it study. One of the delineating factors, really why we picked these 2, you know, one of the proposals had no timeline, no price, you know, was just missing a bunch. We didn't feel like that was adequate. And one of the contractors, or one of the other submissions, they didn't have any traffic engineers. And to me, for Macclesfield Park or any kind of traffic planning or anything like that, that's really important. And since that was left out, we just didn't feel like they were a good candidate. So that's really what broke it apart for us. Both other candidates had all of those things. And the price was, you know, right around what we expected, with Simone Collins coming in at $89,649 and JMT coming in at $88,335. So if the park board would so move, if they'd make a motion to present Simone Collins and JMT to the Board of Supervisors, if everybody agrees with that, that would be the next a good step.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
second. All right, Dave made the motion, Mike seconded. Any comments, questions from the board?
So Monica, I didn't get a chance to read through each one of them. I looked at the intros for each. You had pointed out a couple of things that you thought were the differences that made the difference. And are you pretty confident that the 2 that we deselected were worthy of deselection?
Oh, I think both firms, Simone Collins and JMT, are fantastic, both of them. They're definitely worthy of this job. They both have a lot of great experience.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually asking about the 2 that did not make the cut. They were worthy of being rejected.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't give us everything that we're going to need to move forward with Macclesfield Park. I mean, the submission requirements were pretty thorough.
Okay, so it wasn't that they just had to kind of imagine what we wanted. We asked them for very specific things and they just failed to deliver them.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm comfortable.
The only thing that I would say is that they have to get down to MAC in the fall,
Mhm.
you know, like in the next 6 weeks, they need to be down there and meet with, somebody from YMS, meet with somebody from football, walk the park at its busiest times and just, make sure that they see it.
There will be as part of the RFP, a committee was advised. So, hoping that some of the local residents who are very involved and engaged would get involved in committee and the leagues who participate out there, and some of the other users, that would be a good committee to get together for that. There are enough people passionate about this that I feel would be very interested in this study.
Hopefully they can put a drone up when when families are coming and going out of Macclesfield. They can see firsthand the traffic patterns.
I would add that if possible to get them there, believe it or not, on a rainy day. If you would have seen what happened last night when those rainstorms came, it was an incredible feat. But yeah, anyways, I will say to the public, because if you see this on the agenda, nobody should think all these firms have submitted is their plan for how they would help the township engage with the community and engage with the township to create a Macclesfield master plan. So this step is like the very beginning, just to say, hey, we'll hire somebody to help us do this the right way to include the entire community. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there to people who may be listening at home.
To add to your point, Mike, there are community engagement requirements as part of the RFP. So that each firm had to say how they would engage the community as part of the process for this. So that was all included. This was written in a way that it makes it eligible for a DCNR grant process in the future. So the RFP was written with DCNR grant guidelines in order to move forward, so that everything that we do planning wise is eligible for DCNR grants. So that has to be included. That piece has to be included.
Any other comments from board members? Any public comment?
No further public comment.
Oh, actually, George is here. He'd like to make a comment. I think I'd probably try that one.
Hi, George Lieben, 1035 Harvard Drive. I just want to reiterate what Mike said. I think it's hypercritical to get down there. Maybe the leagues can work with you on schedules and, one, for example, YMS, what the biggest time we're there. Because I think really seeing that, and I think it was Mike Brody that was saying that on the call, but like last night, like in particular, like soccer had shut down for the night and it was just football, and it was incredible trying to get out of the park. So it is really something to look at those busiest times. I think you have to see it, experience it, not just have a community group get together in November and not see that. So, thank you.
Did George say that was just football? That wasn't even soccer?
Soccer shut down early and football stayed.
Yeah. Soccer shut down at about 7:15 or so. So when that whole deluge happened, that was just the football crowd getting out of there. There was nobody left at soccer because I was the dad who was picking his kid up last night. So it was only football last night coming out when that happened.
That's great perspective. Thanks, George.
Any other public comment?
No one else in the room.
Was that a no, Monica?
No.
Okay. All right. If you want to make a vote on the approval to bring to the board the two companies, Simone Collins and JMT, for the Macclesfield Park master plan assessment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Motion moved. All right, Monica?
Hey, Monica, one follow-on question, not to change the vote or anything, but how will the supervisors determine which of the two? Do they need more information?
Well, like I said, to me, it would be up to them how they want to go about it. I mean,
I know, I'm feeling a little
I-
guilty that we're giving them two without any distinction.
Yeah.
But
I mean, JMT to me is if you're going between the two in the end, JMT has most understanding of the township and background, and they are less expensive by $1,000 approximately. So that could be the deciding factor. But they're so close.
Doug, I'm just wondering if we should, I know we just voted on it to move these two forward. Should we maybe think about that? Maybe just pick one and make one recommendation, or is that not necessary? I just don't know how the supervisor is going to make a differentiation.
Well, I mean, I'll defer to Monica. I mean, if Monica, if your recommendation is the JMT one, obviously it's low bid and has the most experience, then we can rescind the motion and submit a new motion with the JMT as the preferred choice of the two. We could still submit two with JMT being the preferred choice of the Park and Rec Board.
We could do that.
I feel
Yeah,
that
again,
a little more thorough and diligent on our part if we do that and help them break the tie.
So does anybody would like, I don't know, the procedural rescinded existing motion?
Can we just amend the motion?
I think
The
we're
person
requesting
who-
a friendly amendment.
The person who made the motion needs to amend the motion, and then the seconder has to agree.
Needs to move to rescind the motion and the seconder has to.
You could just amend it, I guess, right?
Yeah, whoever put, just amend the motion and, I will accept the amendment.
No, because you're changing the original motion. You have to rescind the first one. If you amend
Yeah,
it, you're
it's-
changing it in a way that negates the.
However you want to do it. However you want.
Gotta rescind it.
Who made the
All right.
motion?
Well, the secretary.
Oh, I thought David or
I think it was
Mike
David
did
and
it.
Mike. Right.
all right,
Do we
so
have a
David, you
supervisor on the
rescind.
call tonight?
Did you make the motion, Mike? Who made it?
I believe it was
I mean,
David.
Board of Supervisors
We-
meeting when
we
they
need
make.
Janelle here.
During the
Where's
Board of
Janelle?
Supervisors meeting, during the Board of Supervisors meetings, they'll make a motion. And then like Dan will say, hey, well, can we add that, like they have a month to do that? Like, you know, and he'll say like, will you accept a friendly amendment? And then, you know, they talk about whether they want to accept the amendment and they just say, no, I'm not going to accept the amendment, or yes, I'll accept the amendment. And they restate what the motion is. It gets reseconded and then they have discussion again and then it moves on.
Yeah,
Do we
but
have a supervisor
who
here?
made the motion in the first place?
No,
I
we
believe
don't
it.
know.
I believe it was Dave. Believe it was David that made the motion.
Do we have a supervisor liaison on the call tonight?
No, James is not on the call. We don't have the Roberts rule with us. Right?
I seconded it.
Yeah, I think it was David and Mike Blundy were the.
We'll assume that I made it, just so that we can get home and watch Yankee game. I move to rescind my previous motion.
All in favor of rescinding?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor of the rescinding of the original motion, just state aye. And
Aye.
Now
Aye.
we need a new motion that states that we will submit to the Board of Supervisors two candidates, Simone Collins and JMT, with the preferred JMT as the preferred vendor to complete the Makefield Park assessment.
So
So,
I'll make that motion.
All right, do we have a second?
second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Monica, we can move move on to the next topic.
Okay, moving on. Snipes tract. So right now, where we are for Snipes tract, as I told you before, we did give a full presentation of what a timeline would look like to the Board of Supervisors. During that meeting is when they decided that they want to do the Makefield Park Master Plan. There are still some things that we can do on Snipes tract while we move along with Makefield Park. So right now we're looking for quotes for Snipes tract to do a tree assessment and an environmental impact study. There was already an environmental impact study, but I believe that there will have to be a new one done for this, anything that we move forward with because of the time frame. I'm looking into that, what exactly is needed. The tree study would study essentially, now there was already a tree count done, an overall tree count and of size in 2016 or 17. And that's in the outline that I shared with you. But this tree study would delineate, native, non-native, things that are worth keeping, not worth keeping, that type, so that we can get an idea of, what would be best and where we could remove trees or if we needed to or whatever. So we'll be able to get a better idea of what that looks like. Another thing that we can do during this time is we can talk to the community. We can have that initial, because the plan would have 2 community outreach. So we could talk to the community about what's important, have a focus group. We can plan that. We could move forward with that while we're moving forward with MAC, understanding that we are going to get some information from Makefield Park that might change the course a little bit here or there, but there's still that second opportunity for community engagement after we know that information. And then I will continue to update the website if any new information becomes available. So I have been doing that all along the way. And as we move forward with Makefield Park, there's a little label there right now, says Makefield Park. And as we move forward, Makefield Park information, I will continue to share more information on there. So a workshop, what a workshop would look like. It'd be designed to engage community discussion about 2 conceptual designs from 2018. This will be a starting point for the new updated Play for All plan in mind. The workshop will be set up for a range of times and will utilize small working groups. New groups will start on the hour for 3 hours. Registration and time slots will be required so we can ensure time slots. Each time slot will host 80 to 100 people. If needed, we will add another meeting so that we can include, so say we had so many people register that there's a waiting list, we would have to add another day. We want to include everybody. So we just wanted to make sure. The goals would be to incorporate Play for All concept on Snipes tract. This would include a mix of active and passive recreation, fields, trails, socializing, play areas. And now this is specifically out of Play for All plan, okay? Nature and recommendations, nature. Provide an opportunity for residents to problem solve and be creative, and all ideas and feedback will be welcome. This is supposed to be a safe space where everybody in the community can talk and we can come up with ideas. So that's really what that will be. This slide was in my previous slide, but I felt like it was worth sharing again if it's something we're looking at moving forward with sometime soon. So there'll be a presentation at the beginning of each meeting, and then discussions will include key amenities, engineering features, and possible renderings where people will be able to draw on their own renderings and come up with their own ideas. So that's kind of what that would look like. Just wanted to bring that to the board, kind of discuss a little bit how we can continue to look at Snipes, while we're working on Makefield Park, understanding that all of our park system is intertwined in one way or another, and then there has to be a flow. So if anybody has any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer them. And if not, I can move on to the next slide.
Monica, was the workshops, was this going to be moderated by our engineers, by Anne, by yourself? Because obviously with 80 to 100 and having consistency, if you have multiple meetings and just getting the outcome, what was your thinking behind that? Obviously that would need to be budgeted, I guess, if we were using moderators and trying to collect, consistency across, and the right outputs. So I was just curious how you were thinking about that.
Well, we would probably have a whole team there. Myself and Lynn Todd would likely be there. Our new planning, I'm not sure his exact title, Dan McLone, our new planning person, and Jim Majewski and Andy would probably all be present during these discussions as we talk forward. That way, any question can be answered along the way as we go. But the idea would be to, even if the park board wanted to be involved in helping with discussion at different tables or sessions, we can include the park board too. So you can hear directly from the residents, what their feelings are. Chairman should be there for sure. Yeah. So, we're still working on the complete logistics. We just know the overall goals at this point. And the staff commitment is already there. Whenever it happens, all those staff will have to be present.
Thank you. Any other questions from any board members? Any questions from the public?
Any questions on the phone, Kyle? No questions on the phone. No questions in person.
Great. Okay. Thank you for the update on Snipes.
We're working with the EAC on a rain barrel project. We have a grant that we can use from Aqua on this type of project. So we are looking to use that towards a rain barrel subsidy. So we're looking at getting rain barrels in bulk for a lesser price and be able to put a portion towards those rain barrels so we can offer them to residents. We're looking at offering one per resident at that subsidized price. And then if they want any more, then they'd have to pay the higher price, which still isn't even close to market value, So we're looking at that. I will be talking to the EAC further about logistics on that, but our staff is supporting the whole logistical component of it, how we're going to work on volunteers and how we're going to distribute and how we're going to do registration and signups for this program. And if it is successful, it's something that we can do more than once. So it'd be kind of a really neat thing. It helps us with our MS4, which is nice too. So it's just a really neat program. I personally have, because of the EAC, I'm going to say specifically because of our EAC, I have rain barrels now at my home, and I realize and I learned from them how important it is and how it can help us in the township. And I feel it's a really great program that we can do. And the money is there to do it. And I think it's something that would be really neat. So I just want to bring this to you. In your slides, there's the link. You can kind of see other municipalities who have done it and how they've done drive-throughs and given away hundreds and hundreds of these rain barrels. So if anybody has any questions about this program, please let me know.
I'm sorry if you said it, but what happens to the water after we catch it?
You can catch it and use it when you want, so you can prevent some of the flooding in your house. I know Mike Blundy has some at his house too. Yeah, so it helps just with the distribution of rainwater, so you're not getting as much ponding and puddling in your yard, or and you're using it when you need it.
Yeah, I use it to water the flower beds and plants and pots. So it just saves you money from using your own water. You can just use the rainwater.
Yeah, that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dennis.
Thank you, Doug. Monica, are these anything unique about these containers, or are they just like 55-gallon drums?
To be honest, I don't know off the top of my head the size of the rain barrel. 50? Okay, thank you. Mike says 50. I'm going with it. 50-gallon tubs. Best if you elevate them in your backyard. So you can even put them up on a couple of stones so you can get some water pressure. And nothing special compared to these rain barrels versus the next rain barrels. It's just we found the good bulk program, really. But they seem to be very good.
About these, if you just went down to the hardware store and bought a 55-gallon trash can, you could use that similarly.
Well, I mean, Home Depot, Lowe's, they sell specific rain barrel.
Mhm.
So for 50 gallons, it's like $90 to buy they're already designed to,
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying to understand the difference between those and like, a $20 garbage can.
I'm sure you can make one at home too.
These have a ball spigot on the bottom of it
Ah,
Mhm.
so
there
that
we-
you can
okay.
Yeah.
attach a hose and let the water out. There's also an overflow valve on the top of it. So, and then there's a screen on top so that you keep, bugs out and
Yeah, thank you, Mike. That makes sense.
debris.
Thank you. I don't think it's impossible to make your own, but these already come ready to go. And you just put it right under your spout. You cut your spout, you put it right under, and the rain feeds right from the top of your house into your rain barrel and filters through. It's a pretty neat process.
It's a great program.
We don't need to vote on this, do we, Mike?
You don't need a motion, right?
No motion necessary. I'm going to move forward here. Or not. There we go. It might go a couple slides. Community trail, as you look out front, you're going to see the community trail is getting done in front of Fred Allen all the way past the community center and down some length of Edgewood Road. We're moving along. The trail is finished. They're cutting the whole trail. They're putting in the stone and they plan on paving next week. The holdup is the ADA cutout, something I learned from this project, which others already knew, but I didn't. That ADA ramps require a whole lot of certification and background, and every time something isn't right, there's another 28-day wait period. So if these are in and the ADA ramps aren't cut out right away, please understand that the approval process is significant. Once the plan for the ADA cutouts is approved, they will move forward with those. They will be getting ADA cutouts. It just isn't going to happen right away. So just want to make sure that the community knows that these ADA cutouts will be coming. They're just not going to be there right away. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have a whole plethora of questions for you. Will the path be opened prior to the crosswalks being improved both at Edgewood and at Ross?
To be honest, Mike, people were walking down the path today, so I don't really think that they're fully closed. But so
Okay.
people are already walking down them.
When is that? When will those crosswalks be? Is that being done as part of the path project, or is that a later part of the project?
That is part of this project. It should be done within the next month, next 6 weeks.
And then just a comment, would there be any, I guess there were a lot more trees were cut than I had expected.
Mhm.
A lot of mature trees with big needles that block sound, so it's significantly louder. I guess I was just wondering, do we have a count of how many trees came down, and will there be efforts taken to replant those?
I'm going to be honest, I should have that count right off the top of my head, and I don't. I can look it up for you though, Mike. There is a plan for a replanting of trees, not the same type of trees, because those were all non-native trees. They were actually all really infested with vines and not looking good, to be honest with you, especially the
evergreens?
ones down closer to your house.
The evergreens?
The evergreen, yeah, we would probably be a mix of evergreens and other trees to
Yeah.
give the same feel. I mean, it's going to take some time for them
Yeah.
to grow, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
but yeah.
No, that's cool, but it looks awesome. It looks really good. People are excited about it.
I know I'm excited about it. Can't tell you how many times
too.
I've been walking through the grass to get to the, to get to the pool or the ball fields or whatever. So, yeah, I think it'll be heavily used. So. Woodside Bike Path update. Bids are opening tomorrow. So bids will be tomorrow morning will be open. So we're moving along with this process. We're looking to a fall to spring project completion. So we'll start now, next year be finished. If bids are acceptable, it will be on the next Board of Supervisor agenda. So just so you know, you can look out for that. That meeting's on the 21st, and all the earth disturbance permits have been received by the state. So everything is moving the way that it should be for this process. I can answer some questions, or I can bring them back to the engineer if it's a question I can't answer today, but I'd be glad to answer whatever I can.
Monica,
Yes.
is this going in front of Bean's Farm? Is that where it is?
It was, I don't know, is that the one near the golf? It's near the golf course. I don't know
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
farm is
towards,
there.
towards the, like heading towards Newtown,
Yeah,
towards
yes.
552.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really tell from the diagram. Where does it terminate on that, in that direction?
It looks like it starts around Merrick Road and goes all the way down to, oh, what is that road? Yeah, Taylorsville Road. It crosses Taylorsville Road with 2 crosswalks as part of the project. Thank you.
So on the other end is, you said Merrick Road?
Merrick, yeah. I actually think it goes a little beyond Merrick.
Okay. I'm still trying to picture where that is.
Merrick is, I think, one road before the golf course on the left.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't go up by Bean's Farm. It's the other direction. Got it.
No, there's like a really good Christmas house back there, timed to music, right off Merrick Road.
Okay, so the path goes down. That's the road where the path ends now, right? The golf course is almost literally across the street.
Yes.
And this would be continuing it down. Okay, got it. Cool. Are there any, I know there was one property owner that, right where the path would have to go immediately to continue it from where it was. Has that been resolved? I don't think was there some issues with?
I really can't speak on that. I don't know, but I can let you know how that I imagine it has been resolved, but I can't speak on that. I don't know enough.
Yeah, because it looks like, okay, the path stays on the same side of the road as the existing path now, right? And then,
Yeah, I'll let you know, Dennis.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next, Skylar Tennis Courts. So, a few months ago, the board agreed to $400,000 to go towards the repair of Skylar Tennis Courts from the sewer proceed sales. We've had to do some testing out there. So we did a core boring test to determine, funny, the fitness that was unintended of asphalt and the condition of the base. Funny enough, there was no base. It turns out there was no base underneath the tennis courts. So that changed the direction of which we were going. We did look into a co-stars vendor to be able to provide us with the service, and we did find one. Andy did a great job of having them sharpen their pencils to come up with a good price. The price came back at $387,110, and that includes the bid alternate. So I will be going to the board, or I won't be at the meeting because I'll be away, but at the next board meeting, we're going to recommend to the board the base price and the bid alternate to pave the parking lot too. So all of it came in under that $400,000, which was wonderful. So we'll see how the board responds to that. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be moving along. The goal would be to start that as soon as possible. And even if we can't finish everything to like the painting and striping this year, we can do a temporary stripe. So at least it's usable until we can do the full painting next year, which will be great because YM Tennis has been, all over the place, trying to help us out while we move along with this process.
Just from Monica, from the from what we did at Memorial Park, are there benches, seating? Was that all included in the bid?
No benches, no seating. It's gonna be fence, drainage, and the courts as they exist now. Same size, same layout and all of that.
Okay, so any seating, things like that, your staff, we would have to do separately after the fact, right?
Yeah, that's something we could always add.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Yep,
is the
so it's-
parking
it's
lot
fencing.
painted? No painted lines, just paved, right?
I believe painting is included, or at least the handicap spot is included.
Okay. And
I'd have to
all
go
new-
back and look.
All new fencing, one main entrance where the existing one is, right?
Yeah, all the gating will be the same.
So
Yeah, it does.
Monica, the price that they came in at for co-stars, that's basically redoing the whole thing, right? Because they got to put a base in, right?
Yeah, it's taking it all the way down to putting a base in and paving.
So it's like building new tennis courts. Okay. Will any of these courts be outfitted for pickleball?
That is not the intention of these courts, no. They're pretty heavily used tennis only right now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to Veteran Square if that's okay. Okay. So for this, there were two different projects budgeted by the Board of Supervisors. One is for ADA improvements, just as far as access. And the other is a playground retrofit. That's just because the playground out there is way outdated and the equipment is old and needs to be replaced. So that's something that we're going to have to start doing as capital improvement over time, is scheduling when we're going to fix and replace and do these with our playgrounds. So we have that in line for this and HECOC, which I mentioned on the agenda, but I'm not really going over because we're not anywhere with regard to that. In 2014 or 2015, Veterans Square had approved by the Board of Supervisors this layout that you see right here. Unfortunately, this layout it wouldn't work easily as far as making it accessible in the way that we would need with parking spots. So that bump out where you see the pavilion in this picture, we reached out to the Veterans Monument Foundation and asked them if they'd be willing to consider revamping the design so that we could do the ADA improvements, but still include all the elements that they were looking at. So the ADA Foundation did agree. They said, this was supposed to be a pavilion. Originally, I thought it was supposed to be a stage, but they corrected me. It's supposed to be a pavilion with benches. So we're looking at a model where the pavilion is closer to the playground, that the connectivity and parking is where the pavilion is now, and we're not losing as much parking space with a new updated design. So we're working through that. I hope to have something new real soon to bring you, but I just wanted to show you what had been approved in the past and some of the changes that we would need to make in order to get those ADA needs met as far as were recommended and approved by the Board of Supervisors and Park Board when we did the transition plan. So we'll be working through concept plans and investigating possibility of grant funding for this project. So this would be a project that for this and the playground, we could look at grants for. So we're exploring that right now. Any questions on Veterans Square? Okay, so Memorial Park. Shade has always been a problem at the playground at Memorial Park. And it is time for us to fix the rubberized surface. Board approved $40,000 for the ADA shade structures and the life cycle replacement of the rubberized surface. This is also a project that could be a grant type project. The Disability Advisory Board really likes these flowers. When I was going to the Board of Supervisor for money, I wasn't considering something necessarily this fancy. So this is probably going to come in a little bit more expensive. Just kind of, I wanted to say that right out of the bat. They're very nice. They're very cute. They fit the theme. So we'll look into these right now. Andy is exploring if these are possible with the soil and the load and all the things that engineers look at with regard to these things. And he'll give me a report back on that.
How tall are those shade structures that are? Any
I
idea?
don't know, but they look pretty tall, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure my son could find a way to climb up this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure that there is a way. So if anybody, does anybody have any other questions about this project and what we're looking at for this?
What's the,
Were there,
what, can you just
It
remind
does.
us of the timeline for this project?
For me, I'd like to see this before next summer. Because the rubberized surface is kind of in poor condition and we kind of have to do these two projects together. Not to mention the parents have been suffering out there in the sun for so many years. It'd be nice to get them into the shade. Parents and children.
So if there's a grant available, when does that?
Now, if there's a grant that could increase the timeline a little bit, maybe we'd be looking at the following summer.
You're saying summer of 2024?
Yeah. Yeah, it would just be dependent on the timeline of the grant when it would be awarded.
Are the canopies, are they fixed? Because they look like they're tilted in the picture. Do we have them tilted a certain way, or are they adjustable?
If we go with these, we'd really have to look at that. There are also just like the bigger shade sails that are a little more simple. That we could look at too. So we kind of have to look at our options and see. I'm concerned that these would be outside the price range that we're looking at here as far as shade structure. And we might have to reevaluate which route we go. So we'll bring all the choices to you here in the near future. But I'd have to look into that as far as, I'm sure they'd have to be installed fixed is what it looks like to me. But boy, would it be cool if you could move them when it, yeah. All right.
Other style shade structures available are on a pole, or are they more like the kind that we currently have, kind of like hanging from wires?
It's more like a like posts that are installed strategically around the different pieces of equipment to provide shade. Posts and there's many different ways to do it really in shade sails.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Keola. So the budget for the Keola project is $225,000. In this process so far, we've met with neighboring residents. Core boring was done to kind of determine the suitability of the soil and the foundation. One drone test was complete. We're looking to do another drone test a little bit after, maybe we lose some leaves here, so that the residents can see kind of the distance and what pole locations would look like. And we need to set a date for that. And when we did meet with the residents, some of the feedback was they were afraid to lose their night, view or sky from their backyard. We mentioned coming up with a landscape buffer or some kind of landscape plan that happened in conjunction with the project. So that's something that we're looking at too, because that was really important to the residents to make sure that there was some sort of buffer. So we're looking at all of that. The timeline on this could be as early as next spring, so long, but we really do want to include the community in this process. So we'll make sure that we do everything that we need to and all the testing that we need to ensure that we're doing the right thing. I don't know, Matt, are you still on the line?
I'm here.
So, I don't want to call you out right now, but Matt, I've been working with him to come up with a strategy. The board of supervisors had asked for a strategy of how they would use that field and how it might alleviate other fields. Matt was new at the time in this role, and he was starting to pull together something on that. So I don't know, Matt, if you've moved along on that at all, or if you want to wait, we can always wait too.
Yeah, sure. Look, I'd say what we're trying to do is be comprehensive and present. Here's the number of players we have in our program. Here's the number of players we have by age. And so, as you know, in baseball, we are a Cal Ripken organization, which means that our T-ball through 10-year-old players play on essentially a softball size field. So that's 46 inches to the pitcher's mound, 46 feet to the pitcher's mound, 60 feet on the bases. Our 10 through 12-year-olds play on a intermediate field, which is a 50 pitcher's mound, 70 baseball field. That's the field that's in question here, is our intermediate field. And then our older boys play real baseball, which is 60-90, 60 feet pitcher, 90 to the bases. So what I'm trying to get a handle on really is, we have the schedules of how often we use all the fields, and I'm trying to do some work around, if we project forward our younger ages, how much of them will benefit from increased availability to use this field. It'll particularly help us in the fall, because right now, the only lighted fields we have are obviously the ones at Mac, and the softball field over behind the tennis courts and the pool. And so we don't have lights that would allow us to, provide an offering to our younger players, during the week. And so they have to kind of go elsewhere. So I'm trying to put together something that's much more concise with specific numbers by age, so that we can demonstrate the need and the benefit. And then obviously, we can make whatever representations are helpful. We don't intend to, change any of our programming. This is not designed to, bring in more tournaments or those types of things. Our busy season for that is typically in the spring, and we have lights then in the spring and summer. And so, we would anticipate using the lights as much then. But Monica, to answer your specific question, I am working on something that I think would be more detailed, that I'd be happy to present here, and also, to the supervisors, if that's helpful.
Thank you, Matt.
I see Dennis has a question.
Significance to the color coding on the diagram we're looking at, like that red around the infield? Does that mean anything?
That just shows the area that would be lit. I think that the area and the infield is where it's most highly concentrated, and that's where overflow light goes. So this is the area that would be lit right here in this picture.
Well, obviously, yeah, you light the field, and then the red is the spillover light.
Yeah, from what I understand, yes.
And then
I
the
think
yellow.
red, and then it gets a little bit of green, and then anything that's dark
And you
after
can't
that
see
is
anything.
you can't see anything. So
Mm.
probably outside of the green is where no light would be.
Okay.
So if you go over by the other field and you look at Oxford Valley Road, where all the homes are, they technically shouldn't see any of the.
Got it.
Any
Very
of the
helpful.
light.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions on this one?
Did you have another slide for timelines or no?
Just the pool.
Okay.
This is our leak that we had this year. So this summer we did have a leak in one of the filter's 40 years old. The board last week, we were able to jerry rig it and patch it this summer to be able to last the season, but the filter needs to be replaced. It's way beyond its life cycle. Life cycle is about 20 years. So we're going to replace it at the cost of 200. It's this, and there's a motor that goes with it that also needs to be replaced at the same time. So both will be replaced We will switch from sand to AFM glass, which is filters the water a lot more efficiently and will make it a lot more clear. It is easier to work with, very easy to manage. So we will be switching over this right away. We're working on this. It's been ordered already. So we'll be ready to open for next year. If we did not move away with this right away, there's a chance that we would have problems next year, if not open on time, but maybe close in the middle of the year, because there are more spots like this in this filter. There's not just this one rust spot that we were dealing with. So that is something that we're moving forward with. We're also meeting with Andy on Thursday to go over bathroom renovations. There's $100,000 allocated to bathroom renovations, updating, upgrading, cleaning up. So that would be something that we're starting to look at too. Hopes to start that soon before the before the end of the year, so that we can move forward before next full season. So that would be the goal. So just want to talk about that a little bit, and I will continue to update you through the process.
How does the, obviously this was a unexpected cost. Is that, obviously that comes out of the current fiscal year budget? Is that out of the Park and Rec budget? Is it a capital?
No, it's going to
different
be
fund
coming
at
out of
township?
emergency relief fund money. So the emergency relief fund money is going to be used for this.
Okay. And it's another 40-year. How long does this one last? So you have to budget it in so
Well,
many
the
years for-
lifespan is usually 20 years.
Okay. 20,
So I think we can look at 20 years. We really should have considered, oh, we made it through 20 years, considered replacing it around then. But we,
Okay, so you'll put a
we
little
waited until
reminder.
this happened. So.
So you'll put a reminder on your calendar for 2042.
Well, actually, as part of Capra, we
Right.
missed 3 points, and one of them was our capital improvement plan. We don't have, we didn't have a sufficient capital improvement plan. So that's something that I'm working on, and Derek is working on, Derek, the new public works director, simultaneously and together to come up with a capital improvement and replacement plan for all of our infrastructure, fixed access, everything. So you can look forward to seeing that sometime soon. We were kind of waiting to get through, some of the things that we're dealing with right now to really dig into it, but we've been working on it little by little. But that is something that I hope in this next Capra, well, actually by the end of this year, to have done. But for next Capra, I don't want to have it as something that we're missing. I really want to be able to report that we got it done. So I think that's very important, and we won't have surprises and emergency purchases so much as we will have be preparing in advance. So that's kind of the plan of that, and where we're working towards. So Capra will continue to help us improve and prevent issues like this in the future. So that's all I have in my slides. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Special events, we're in the middle of special event season. So many things. We had a very successful but rainy 9/11. We had a very successful but hot community day. and we also had a great 5K anyway that just happened. Coming up on Friday is our Zumba After Dark. Pre-register today for that. It's the first time we're going to do it. We'll have a DJ, we have a stage, lots of fun music, glow, all the things. It's going to be a lot of fun in the pool parking lot. So we're looking to do that, we're doing that on Friday. So that's coming up. We have a holiday craft fair coming up. We have a Halloween event coming up. We have the 9/11 race coming up next weekend. We have also, there's another 5K that we have at the golf course coming up. So we have so many things happening right now. So this is what we like to call event season. All of a sudden, heading into August, there's event season for us. It's one thing after the next. We're doing really, really great in our special events and our programming. Our attendance has been up by a lot, which is wonderful. Pool registration was on point. We didn't quite get to where we budgeted, but we are looking to break even this year because we did adapt a little bit so that we can get to where we need to be. It wasn't in the quantity of people who registered. It was more the quantity of people who registered early and got the discount that really affected our final numbers. So that's something that we might have to look at, is how we do the discount season this year. But other than that, that looks good at the next
Monica?
meeting. What?
I did see a post earlier today and I wasn't aware, and it didn't come from you or your team, but I saw something there was about tours for 5 Mile Woods this weekend. Are you aware of that?
Oh, yes, there's a 5 Mile Wood walkthrough. I think it's
Yeah.
this week. Yeah, so there's 5 Mile Woods walkthrough this weekend. The Friends of 5 Mile Woods will be doing walkthroughs with the community. I do have a memo here with the exact information, but they'll be cycling through as people come. We'll put out more information on social media too about this. I could put it out tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. And then next meeting, I will go over projects that we're going to be doing in the next year, some budgetary items that we'll be looking at, and fees I'm hoping for next meeting. So please look forward to that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Does the board have any other topics they would like to bring up or discuss amongst us?
Move to adjourn.
Do you want to get up for public? There's someone here for public comment. You just.
Right, I was just
Sorry.
gonna,
Yep.
yep, I was gonna offer that up if there was any public comment. No.
Yeah, you can get up. Mhm.
Thank you. I'm Lori Gray. I live at Slate Hill Road, so my property is just adjacent to Makefield Park. And I want to first thank Monica for all of her help over the past few months, because we continue to have problems with the lights staying on past 10 o'clock, sometimes until 1, 3 in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, weekends. So I would just like to know what can be done to ensure that the lights are turned off when they're supposed to be off, and what can be done about it, because they shine into my home and into my backyard. So I wanted to bring it to the board's attention. I know George and Monica, like I said, you've been really good every time I make you aware that there is a variance to when they're being shut off. And I know George, I'm not sure who the other gentleman is on the email string.
Yeah, Gordon from LMFA. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, but however, it still continues to happen. So I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. And if there's anything that the board can do, I would greatly appreciate it. I don't know what further recourse I have other than to come to the board and to Monica.
Which lights are there? The baseball lights, the soccer lights?
It seems to be the tall baseball lights now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're all on a timer, and we keep changing the timer, but for some reason they still continue to be on at 1 o'clock in the morning. So what we discussed at the beginning before the meeting was, but when we met with Musco with regard to the Keola lights with the residents, they had mentioned that they can retrofit old lights to create a timer. What I'd like to do is find out how much that would be. With us doing this Makefield Park study, I don't know that retrofitting is which way we're going to go, if it's so expensive, but it's something that's a minimal cost, and it's going to help with this problem. I think it's so worth it. Yeah.
I've stood on that field when the lights went off.
Yeah.
And 15 or 7, and it didn't matter if you were in the middle of an inning. Boom, lights went off, you were done.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprised. I'm surprised to hear that.
I have a concern that maybe someone has learned how to turn them on their own anymore. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I can't figure out why else this is happening. So.
I mean, we're trying to find a short-term solution, because obviously having them retrofitted won't happen immediately, but is there, I mean, Lori was her first name, is that correct?
Yes, yes, Lori.
I don't, are you able to, when you communicate with Monica, like, is it a specific day you're telling her the lights are on at a certain time? I know, I assume hopefully at 1 a.m. you're asleep, but if it's obviously keeping you awake, but
She's not.
she's not, she's a night owl, but, obviously any information that we can get, whether it's the baseball fields or the lights that are on the turf, right? That way we can understand like which organization, who was at the fields for that particular day, so that just understand we can a little, I know Matt Curtin's on the line here from PAA. At least we can try to go back and understand, which lights they are, when they're occurring, and we can at least go back to the members of that organization and at least try to address the situation more specifically, or find out if which particular lights may be having problems. So not that I ask you to stay up every night and with a lawn chair outside and monitor the lights, but we do appreciate you giving us the feedback. So if and when the next time you do notice it, any particular details will be very helpful. So.
Doug, I'll tell you, Lori's one step ahead of you because she does always tell me specifically what lights it is, what night and what time she's seen them. So we kind of have seen a trend that it's generally the baseball fields, the lights, the taller lights that are in the outfield. And it's, right now it's soccer using them. I believe last night football might have hopped onto them, even though they're not, generally out there.
Mac H fields or the A, Mac A and B?
H.
H? Oh, it's H, not A and B. Okay.
No. Yeah. So that's who's using them right now. And I have included Gordon and George in the email with Lori, just to kind of let them understand what we're dealing with here, to see if maybe they could be on the lookout also. But
is there a way to, I mean, I know they use them, but if it's problematic during the week, is there a way to turn those lights off and only make them available on weekends? I mean, I'm just trying to have to understand what's
that would be next
why
to
they on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we could have like a key holder or someone who's responsible to turn them off at night. I'm just gonna have to figure out how we can. I mean, it's been even worse lately.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, worse than ever, right? These last few weeks. So we just need to figure out what's going on, or if there's a couple different strategies.
Dennis, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Doug.
Sure.
Yeah. So Monica, I know they all have timers. Obviously, the timers are malfunctioning. I don't know if that could be the result of maybe storms or power outages and they get off cycle or whatever. But do you think, and so longer term, I don't know what the retrofitting actually would include, but I would think, and I'm only suggesting this because, my Verizon service goes out and they can run my TV from the Verizon office wherever they are. So I'm wondering if we couldn't have some sort of remote installed down at the police headquarters, and if something went askew, the police could just turn them off remotely. Or in the meantime, until that can happen, you think the chief would be interested in sending a patrol car through there around 10 and just making that observation? Doesn't mean that they won't come on at 11, but just saying.
I mean, I could ask the chief to help me with that. What I was talking about, I always say Musco. I think it's Musco. I say it wrong every single time, but they can retrofit the lights to have that type of accessibility even on your cell phone. So it set you alert that says the lights are still on, and you could just click off with your phone, as easy as that. That's how the new lights would be moving forward with Keola. Everything would be controlled. Everything could be controlled remotely. So that's something that you can kind of retrofit these older lights to be able to do that. And we'd have to look and see pricing for that.
I would appreciate, though, I love Dennis's suggestion if the police department could come through, and patrol to make sure that they're off, because obviously me continuously telling people isn't making a difference. So maybe, if the police, got involved, it would be helpful.
George is back.
Oh, good. George is back. Good. Good, George. I'm glad you're back. I'm Lori, by the way. So anyways, I really do appreciate, I think that might be a great suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Any other public?
Yeah. Hi, George Liebman, 1035 Harvard Drive. Yeah, we've told our coaches to try and I think it might be H, but I'm not sure. The problem is we're not turning them on, right? So they're coming on the timer. So nobody's thinking, naturally you would be thinking it should go off on the timer, right? So, and we also do not have we don't give keys out to our entire organization for that. So, because you don't want those keys floating around. So, I'm happy to reinforce. I actually walked over and saw one of the coaches tonight and said, hey, if you're the last one off, try to remember to turn that off if you can. But I'm also not sure if we turn it off, does that blow the timer also? So if that's,
These are all things to explore.
yeah. And I did hear, I did ask a question today because Langhorne has older lights that have been retrofitted and they can turn off with the app. So it's something to look at. It may not be that expensive to do. So.
Yeah, I think they have newer lights, Morrisville. I remember I drove past them recently.
Was probably almost 5 years ago now. They were
Dennis, can you turn on your,
Yeah.
Dave, can you turn on your mic or speak close to your mic?
Yeah, he can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I was involved with Morrisville, probably going back about 5 years, they were using cell phones to turn the lights on and off. So the technology's been around.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, just on lights and at the end of the meeting, I can't control that bringing this up. Pendel football field recently, Lori's laughing because I'm so amazed by this. They just installed the new modern lights on half their field, and at the 50, the old lights are up, and you can see how different it is with the new lights versus the old lights. If you want to see, I suggest getting out to the Pendale football field so you can see the difference at night. I only know because my son plays football there, but it is really such a huge difference between, it's like night and day.
Yep.
You know?
Which is better, the older the new?
Yeah. What was that?
Which is better, the old or the new lights?
Oh, the new lights. You can see the field better with the new lights. The field isn't as dark, and they look like little matchsticks. I mean, like just a little, like a star in the night from a distance. It's really surprisingly different than how the old lights were.
Can I give a quick liaison report? See, then you guys can go. I'm sorry. I have a daughter in the car is unpleased with me, but I said I got to get back because Lori's here with the lights. So, I wanted to let everyone know our turf was renovated over the summer. That's complete. We also just finished off the fence repair, so it's not look like a disaster over there. Thank you, Monica, and everyone in Township who helped out with that. We have some cones by our shed for you, so making it safe. You guys can pick it up whenever. So,
Thank you. I'll tell the guy.
yes. So it was a great project. I want to give a shout out to A&S Fencing. If you guys need fencing, they were great. They did a really nice job on it. Tremendous kickoff to our season. Really awesome seeing all the little kids out there again playing soccer. Big weekend for us, went off very smoothly. Got through all the rain, which was great. And we have about 960 kids in our recreation program this year. So it's pretty amazing. We're excited. It just feels like it's another 50 kids every year that come in and join the rec program. So it's pretty exciting for us. And I did send a message out to folks on Saturday afternoon about parking any roads behind Mac and around Mac. Hopefully, Lori, nobody's parking near you either. So, okay, good. And also about parking on the grass. I told everybody you guys would tow them or ticket. So feel free, go ahead. At this point, they've been warned. So, and I also wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to some of you might know Mike Hansen. He's not here tonight because he's doing better things, but Mike is in his final month of being on the board. His kids have all graduated, moved on. He has been a part of this meeting for a while and done a lot. He's been a volunteer at YMS for I want to say over 20 years. So Pretty impressive run. So I figured I'd call out all his contributions here to everyone. So that's all I have. Any questions for YMS? No. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Get my
Thank you,
daughter.
George. Thanks, George.
Bye. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment person or on the line?
No.
Online for public comment, we have Lisa.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Lisa, you can press *7 to unmute. Hello, Lisa.
Yes, hi. Yeah, I'm Lisa Tenney from 156 Pinnacle Circle. I just wanted to voice my concerns. I'm going to be 63 in November, and honestly, I've been disappointed. Parks and Rec. I am a swimmer, and I joined the pool, right, for a summer or two, and then, you know, you don't have year-round swimming, so I left. So that stated, I pay a lot of tax dollars, as well as a lot of people over 50. Your population in 2024 will be mostly over 50, and it's a way underrepresented population, as your recent Parks and Rec survey that was biased has shown. Now, that stated, even tonight, I don't usually call into Parks and Rec because I don't use you guys a lot, but I can't see the telephone number on the TV. I can't see the telephone number to call into the meeting on my Facebook on my iPhone. I had to actually use my iBook, right? Not everybody that's 63 has this ability, right? To voice their concerns. Many may have even mobility issues. So I know you say, oh, you're Capra and everything. I do think you underrepresent a older growing population. And I don't know why you would think about doing anything with the Snipes track when you haven't addressed that. I would hope you in the future consider how you can accommodate everybody's recreation, not your youth soccer, not your youth football. Not that I am upset at all to promote, you know, athletics, being a former athlete, but you have to represent the recreation of a population. Now, I look at the brochure each month. There's nothing I want to do. I'm not in the wheelchair and doing chair yoga. So I think you got to beef up. You got a whole adult community center. When I visit that, it's empty. That's a problem. So in going forward with your department, you need to expand your programming to accommodate everybody, all ages. Why do we need to spend money on tennis courts, make one a pickleball court? You got this big flower thing on Memorial Park to provide shade. Get a tree. Be eco-friendly. Come on. So in the future, I'd like you to consider this, Because right now, I'm paying, my tax dollars go to nothing in this community. I don't even get free trash.
Thank you, Lisa.
Appreciate your comments.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, Monica, did you have a question?
I just love to hear, Lisa, what is it that you would like to do with Parks and Recreation? Did we lose Lisa?
No, you didn't. I'm here, Monica. Thank you.
Okay.
Lisa, did you hear Monica's question?
Yes. Oh, I didn't hear because I got the TV off. What was her question?
She was asking you if there were any suggestions you had on things you would be interested in.
Well, yeah. So I think you can do community things. You can get. How about let's do. Oh, sorry. I gotta. Okay. So how about you offer get group Phillies tickets. Get a bus. Go to the Phillies game. Community Phillies game, right? You know, community things where you get a bus, all people of all ages. Snipes, right? The Snipes track. I've never even been there, but honestly, there's no place to walk my dogs except for the Delaware Canal in my neighborhood, right? Why don't you just put a little running path around Snipes track? Running, bike, walking path. Doesn't that fit everybody's play for needs? It's cheap. Everybody loves nature, right? Let's just be eco-friendly and respect the land and all ages. Let's not cater to a certain group, Makefield Park. Right? You can't bring dogs. You can't picnic. You only have, right, soccer games.
Well, I have great news
That's
for you,
it,
actually.
right? I don't know.
We did offer a group trip to the Flyers last year on a bus ride from Lower Makefield Township. We did there are group bus rides that from the seniors offer to all different locations that anybody can participate, and they take off from the community center. And at Makefield Park, you can walk your dog. In Memorial Park, you can walk your dog. So we do have a lot of these things that you're looking for. But and Lisa, I'd be glad to sit down with you and we can talk and brainstorm. But I'd also like to, if you could come, as we look forward to having these community focus groups, if you could come and participate and we can really hear, I mean, a running path, that's a great idea around Snipes. That's something worth considering. I hear you.
I
think I love to continue to listen to that.
Suggested that. You know, he said you need a running path.
Mm-hmm.
There's no running places, right? And then people have said there's no place, you can't walk your dog at 5 Mile Field. You can't, the township grounds, you can't bring a dog. It's not dog friendly there, honestly, because there's, games. It's not that inviting, and dogs don't particularly like people. They want to be with trees and smelling.
Mm-hmm.
So
and we have
I've
a
been
dog
there with,
park. We have a dog park too that you can sign up.
But you have to get vaccinations, right? And your dog has to like other dogs. And if you have 2 dogs, that adds to the problem. Not that that's a bad thing, okay? None of this is bad, right? Your pool's great, right? Your dog park's great. There's a lot. The golf course is great, except if you have 2 broken wrists like I do. Everything's great, but you do need to kind of make it more inclusive and not, maybe do so much youth, because your population is aging a little and may have wrist problems and mobility problems, and they may have differing needs. Yeah, so I was from Madison, Connecticut. I lived there for 20 years. We had a 50-page Parks and Rec. We could sign our kids up for golf lessons. We could do anything. We had a town beach. We had everything was open. We had a farm that was open. We could walk on. And here it just seems closed and specific, to certain needs, so to speak, rather than inclusive.
Well, Lisa, if you see a gap in our services, I'd be glad to hear where the gap lies.
Okay.
And you can always reach out to me. My email is monica.t@lmt, or you can just call me directly, 267-274-1112. Our website is full and loaded of things. I could always point you in the right direction. I'm here for you, Lisa. I'm willing to listen to you. But I'm right here for you. It's all open door.
Yeah, but there's nothing, I read those brochures, right? And I don't have, there's nothing. I don't play pickleball. I have used the tennis courts. They're great. I don't use them a lot. I bike in my neighborhood, right? And that's a good thing. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, maybe because I don't have kids, but I don't even think if I had kids. I had a kid that horseback rode. I exposed them to everything, like soccer, softball, right? They did all that, but I don't know.
So Lisa, think about it and get back
yeah,
to me.
I
I can't
will.
wait to hear what you have to say. I really do
Okay.
appreciate your feedback.
Thank you for all you do, Monica.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Is there any other public comment on the line?
No further public comment online.
Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments from the board, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
One comment before we adjourn.
Sure, Dennis, go ahead.
Can I just take my Park and Rec hat off and put on my citizen cap for a second? And I don't know if Lisa's still on the line, but I am close to you in age, Lisa, and my wife and I do. We have a very different view of what's in the township and what's available to us. We count our blessings, in fact, every time we can, about how wonderful the township is as a place to live. And I think one of the core tenets, I don't know how it escaped the conversation, but the whole concept of this play for all is really intended to get, as Monica can tell better than anyone, the feedback from residents to help make this an inclusive system that accommodates as many needs as possible. And I don't know that we're going to be able to accommodate things like she had in Madison, where they had a beach. I don't think we can get a beach per se, but I mean things that are certainly reasonable and practical. I know that Monica and the supervisors have had open minds to making this an inclusive community, and I just have a different perspective, and I wanted to make sure that the people that have been involved in making it what it is feel appreciated for what, where it's gotten and what it is today, because I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have one thing to say. It's like tonight's presentation from Monica, there's a lot that is going on between the repair of the tennis courts, the MAC study, the rain barrel program, the walkways that are being done. You're doing a lot of work. This is really great stuff. Please continue to push, because we need this.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, if there's no other further comment from park members, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks all.